shape. I haven't done any bulk fermentation at this point. So I pinch it, give it a little roll.
God, Kevin.
You guys have mind and gut.
If it was his gut or our minds wouldn't have known.
Totally other conversation here.
He's
People leave it.
right, but I can still tell.
Stop it.
If you didn't say it, you were thinking it, and we all know it.
What does that say about where your minds are?
And I didn't even catch what that was
That they've been around you.
I'm so proud of myself. I'm so awesome.
Oh, as though you're so innocent.
But that time I didn't catch it.
That was the one time ever.
Yeah, right. Earlier when he said never mind. Didn't put anything in it. Sorry.
I tell you, we get the funniest conversations here.
Jeff, we have decided that the culinary program, to be in it, A, you've got to be a pervert, and B, we're just way too comfortable in the kitchen.
Yeah. You can't
Well, I'll
push
tell
that.
you, the other class doesn't do this. You know, they just
The other class don't like each other.
They just sit really quiet.
They don't like each other.
They don't.
No, not
I don't
really.
like any of y'all.
They appear to like each other. So what you'll notice I'm doing here is I'm just pacing right along.
I got her.
I'm moistening these and kind of just create my bagels while you guys are chatting here. We just keep going, making one bagel after another. I'm lining them up on my sheet pan. And as soon as I'm done making these bagels, I'll go ahead and jump right into bialys. I'm going to first, though, before I finish my bialys, I'm going to cut up some onions and saute them because I want to get my garnish ready. I don't feel like I should put raw onions on top of my bagel, on top of my bialys, because if I do, I'm afraid that raw onions are just not going to cook. They're going to get brown on the outside and raw on the inside. It's just like barbecue
Must be
chicken.
bialy bagel.
So.
That's terrible. Terrible.
So again, just a nice little
Nothing
bagel.
to stay together?
They usually do. You can see how this one has the joint there, but it's thick. Now, there's an occasion when these open up when they're being boiled, but that's as long as you get a pretty good seal here, you're in pretty good shape. When it comes to bialys, I smash these down really good. And then what I do is I kind of go around and around like pizza to make my cabbage. Now you can also use a weight, like a cast iron 2-pound weight back there from the scale, and smash it down in the middle even more. And just really, smash it in the middle to get that middle thin and get the middle down where you can put garnish into it. But then I like to kind of give it a stretch into an oval shape, and I put my garnish right here in the center. Then I don't let these sit under plastic until I'm ready to put them in the oven. Once I've got them all dressed, they'll go in the oven and I give them some steam.
Basically, the only difference between the bialy and the bagel is the bagel gets boiled and the bialy's not.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why
Bialy
you
gets
that one,
steam.
it's so goofed up and look pretty.
Well, these will continue to puff up, and sometimes what I'll do.
Doing that.
Yeah, this is what this looked like before it's
So we
baked.
just bake the bialys and then put it in the oven and get boiled and all.
You don't boil them at all. So
So is there onion inside that or just on top of it?
just on top, it's
Just
like a garnish on top. Sort of like a Danish, but not sweet.
break it.
It'll puff up.
So now these might puff up some more. If I keep these protected from the dry air and they start puffing up a lot, I can also smash them down again a little bit before I put the garnish in. After all, these are technically a flatbread. I mean, they're in the flatbread family, and all the flatbreads are tortillas, pita bread. Bialy falls in that family.
Even though it's not very flat in the base.
Right. Technically, it should be fairly flat. But that would mean smashing them down a couple of times to make sure that they're really, well deflated. These actually get a chance to proof a little bit, before they're actually put in the oven, because they sit, waiting for our filling. But we can just, say we can smash these down in the center, get a nice cavity going.
Cut bialy.
Those who made yesterday, the ones that you saw some of the other classes, Bialys, you saw one that was just like really tall. What they did was they created a ball of dough, and they took the press, they took the cast iron weight, and just made an impression. And that's okay. But what it does is eventually fills in and pushes straight up because it's got nowhere else to go. And what some of them did was they would take their dough and they would form it into a ball, just like you would a dinner ball. Right? And then they would smash this down with a cast iron weight, get a nice hole in the middle, and put their filling in there. The only problem is they pushed it out. You know. So I find when you have a piece of dough like this, just work it like pizza dough. Work around and around.
Overwork it and make it tougher than it should be?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. It'll puff up nice and.
That's good. Give me an information.
I like doing it this way because you get a nice cavity, a nice sized cavity, so you can really put some good garnish in there. I like having a lot of garnish in my bialys. Bialys are really more of an Italian thing. When you go to bagel shops in New York, they're almost always Jewish. But when you go to an Italian bakery, you're going to find the same recipe that the Jews use being used in Italian bakeries, and they'll make bialys. And it's really common. You see it in Brooklyn. You see it in the Bronx. This is where some of the best bakeries are in the country.
That's where I was going.
Bronx or Brooklyn? Bronx. I got a good friend who lives in the Bronx.
Queens.
And I love Queens. I mean, my family used to live in Queens. My grandmother grew up in Brooklyn. But
Probably is a little too white to go back to Queens.
well, now Queens is all Asian. It was all like, you know, Jewish and Italian neighborhoods at one time. Now it's like you go down to Flushing and it's like you feel like you walked into Shanghai. It's really amazing. Now they do have some of the best dim sum in the country in Flushing. Some amazing dim sum restaurants and fantastic Chinese food. But I think it's better than Chinatown myself. But if you're ever in New York City, definitely take a day trip, not a night trip, but a day trip down to Flushing. Take a day trip.
There we go. Let's go to Flushing.
Flushing might be a little dangerous.
Let's go to